The heroes navigate the labyrinth of the vaults, its twisting corners and corridors, bridges and overhangs, and create a confusing sense of claustrophobia. They made their way to a room that overlooks the old arena. In this room were two squabbling poltergeists. The risk and challenge they exposed through the heroes gave them reason to try and reason with the restless spirits. And through the simplest of things, directions to the labyrinth, the spirits depart. After curiously poking around the room and leaving a little richer of magical treasure, the heroes found a heavy portcullis. Gilda was the one to overcome this tyrannical obstacle. She drank an alchemical substance, a mutagen, that gave her more raw strength beyond her normal capabilities. Forcing the gate open, the heroes were set upon by an assassin shadow. And Lady Gilda, still under the effects of the mutagen, became the hammer and the shadow the nail. Though that solution to this problem was not a wise course. Gilda nearly lost her shadow, and subsequently, her life. And now her god Aurori has frowned upon her actions.
So I was thinking,
That's not like you.
as dangerous as it is,
Oh boy.
about the current situation in the game, and what just happened, Lady Gilda, and the whole thing. And I was thinking, she had a moment there, whether she meant to or not, of a bit of rebellion against what she might consider part of the establishment that governs over her life and her philosophy and all that. James can of course tell me if I'm wrong as we go on. But what I was wondering, what it got me thinking about was, what are the small things that you guys do to rebel against any sort of establishment? Like what is your like sort of malicious compliance or or sort of thing? I'll give you a really dumb example. I've always really enjoyed rocking the disheveled look. I don't like maintaining my beard. I let my hair just kind of grow. I don't put any product in it, and I don't get it cut or trimmed in a certain style really ever. maybe once a year. And I've been told so many times by restaurants, like, oh, you need to trim that. And I'm like, do I though?
Is this a long con for trying to justify your laziness?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on right now?
Oh, it's yeah. I mean, yeah. I despise the act of maintaining my.
I didn't
beard
know
and
poor
hair. Like,
personal hygiene was an act of rebellion.
I hate it. Oh no, I'm clean. I'm clean. I'm not groomed. you know, I don't have a specific structure to it all. And I always just love telling people, like, no, like what do you need from me? Like, I've been doing service for a long time. Like, my service stands for itself. You don't need my beard to be a certain shape. You can piss off. That's I've always kind of been doing that for as long as I can remember. For as long as I've been told you need to look cleaner. I'm like, no, I'm plenty clean. You just want me in a different shape. Piss off. So is anyone of you guys do something like that on the regular?
Yeah, mine's pretty casual. I just basically just stay strapped up all the time. walking around in public. Got my heater in my waistband. That's it. Nothing big.
You're always packing? You're always packing?
Yeah, dude. Just fucking half stepping with my weapon off safety nonstop.
So that's a lie.
I know. I don't know. My number one rule is I just don't snitch.
You just don't snitch.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't care what I've seen happen.
What if it's a safety issue at work?
Oh, but I'll bring it up to the person.
Okay.
I deal with everything head on.
All right. And if they say piss off, I don't care, then do you snitch?
Usually other people will be around and they'll allow them to do it.
So if you were to encounter a snitch,
it's a good way to
would you give them anything? Because I've heard that
column A, they could have a stitch or two, or column B, they could live in a ditch.
Okay. Just wanted to check the stitch.
Yeah, it just depends,
Oh, okay. Anyone else? Oh my God, that was gold.
I like following the rules. I'm a good little rule follower. Now that weed's legal, it's all
you
good,
do work
baby.
in a hospital, so it's probably for the best.
Good guy dunk dog.
I don't know if I buck any traditions or like expectations any more than a regular human being. I don't know, man.
I would argue against that for you, because I think you don't do most things like other people, so you get really mad at other people all the time when they expect you to do inconvenient but everyday normal things.
Well, I mean, it depends on the normal thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's like that's intentionally being antagonistic so
Yeah,
much
that's
as
right.
it's just my nature as a human being.
I guess that's that would be my point, is that my question was, what do you do intentionally? You don't really do any of them intentionally, but you do a good few.
I embrace who I am and
Yeah.
what makes me happy. And
Yeah.
if you're gonna do something fucking backwards and stupid, I'm gonna tell you about it. I'll be nice about it the first time, and then the second time, not so much.
I mean, that's actually a fairly decent parallel to the situation here, because it's like for lack of a less cheesy phrase, it's a really living in the moment kind of thing. And that's kind of what Lady Gilda just did. Really took that mutagen and just lived it for that 60 seconds.
She's a firecracker.
It's her rum spring out.
She came in like a wrecking ball.
Shit, when did Miley get here?
God, Scott, put your clothes back on.
Miley doesn't snitch either.
I would believe that. She doesn't seem like a snitch to me.
No, that chick's cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, she's a cool person.
There you go. Yeah, so I mean, on that same topic too, as per the mode of operations that I mean, at least I tend to have worked with this podcast. After the fact, I'm always reanalyzing what decisions I made on the fly to make sure everything was legit. And we are going to change a little bit of something. We had a bit of a dramatic ending there, and I don't want to pull the rug out from under that. But with a little more looking at how anathema works, which we hadn't really explored for a while, not even really off mic, and what it might mean, especially compared to these curses. I have decided on how I'm going to approach the overcoming of this curse, and that approach has in turn made me decide to change the curse. And it's going to go from the moderate to the lesser curse, or the minor curse, but that's not for the purposes of how powerful they are, but rather the context of the curse. So you guys might remember that the moderate curse gave Lady Gilda clumsy to an encumbered condition, which is pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I like that, especially since so far she's received one minor boon only. And I kind of like the idea of starting a bit low. And we're looking at the anathema of Irori, and one of the things is repeatedly failing to maintain self-control. I think this is the first time we've seen in this show of her losing some self-control. And so it's not a repeated issue, it's a singular moment. And the curse is meant to say Irori is watching. And I want her to have a reason and a method to overcome his ire. And so the minor curse is a bit different in that you're basically reminded to not treat every problem as a nail and you just being a hammer, which is kind of what she did. And basically until I say otherwise, if there is a check in which the higher bonus, sorry, I'm just going to read it verbatim here so I don't get confused. If you select a check for which you have a higher bonus when another method would have been more appropriate for the situation, such as using deception to lie through life because it's your highest modifier, even if it would be better to reach a compromise with diplomacy, you must roll the twice and take the lower result. So if I decide that something with a lower bonus in Lady Gilda's repertoire is more appropriate than her highest bonus one, and would also achieve a similar success, then when she chooses to use that higher one, I'm going to call for roll twice in the lower. And the more she can avoid that, the closer she comes to redemption, as it were. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep. So this is her written warning from Aurori, and she's on a probationary
Basically,
She's been given disadvantage on skill checks when you decide until you decide. So yeah.
Actually, if anything, it's maybe verbal warnings. It's verbal, written, and then fired. So
it's step one.
Wow. What if Gilda turned into like a fallen paladin? I don't know what the rules are for that in this, but
we actually kind of discussed that a little bit off mic, and she wouldn't.
Yeah.
She'd actually probably just shrug off her 6 levels of paladin at this point and retrain as a fighter. Yeah. She would leave the adventure for sure.
Shrug off those epaulets.
I think effectively, if she were to commit proper anathema, she would lose the divine power of everything. I would still like allow her to keep like her reaction, but not with the defensive part of it, where she can defend from damage. She would just be able to strike. Anything martial would stick, but anything non-martial would disappear. And then from there, like retraining to a whole new class, especially at a higher level or whatever, would take a long time. So it would require a shifting in
rules is written. If she commits a proper anathema, she loses her divine ally and her focus pool. So it would be more intense than that to lose like her reaction and her paladinic abilities.
We also looked in like an alignment shift as well, and if she were to be under the same god, she could actually shift to lawful evil with Aurori technically, and become.
You looked at an alignment shift.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what if an alignment shift happens? Yeah. Like
this is like the one character where I don't see that happening.
Oh no, I could never see it happening. But I was like, imagine if she went from good to evil in a moment for some reason. She could actually maintain her powers, stay under Aurori, but she'd have to become a tyrant champion. And it would be a pretty significant change in power and dynamic. But it's kind of a cool idea that it can happen.
Tyrants are pretty metal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In any case, let's get to the game, shall we? Lady Gilda's laying on the floor, feeling a little worse for wear, and feeling as though her best is not always going to be good enough. That's the general sense of what she knows best, what she's most capable of doing. Just the sinking feeling of that it's not always, just because she can do it doesn't mean it's the right path. And it's probably a very humbling experience to think the things I don't know are just as important in the right situation. What do you guys want to do?
Is everyone okay? And Tulok looks about the room as his eye single pupil reappears and the skeleton champion is dismissed and collapses to the floor. Lady Gilda, are you well? And he takes a knee beside her. Wait, are you on the ground?
Yeah, she's still on the ground. She's laying prone. And she's just like shivering as her essence was essentially pulled out of her, and she's still kind of coming around from that. Though she does have health, like her shield is broken, her other shield is broken, and her morale is kind of broken at this point as well. And this feeling of existential dread just settles in on her as she knows she's been essentially reprimanded by her deity. Like, this is probably the first time it's actually felt like she's had direct interaction with Aurori. She's had a boon before, but she believes that, that was more due to her actions than Aurori like actually putting an eye on her. But this feels like Daddy's watching.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't like it when you say it like that.
It didn't feel good.
Nor is it meant to.
So Tulok takes a knee beside her. Gilda, are you okay?
I'm alive, if that's what you're asking.
And has her shadow returned to her body?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it does.
All right, Tulok puts a hand on your shoulder, and he will use the healer's gloves on you for 13 health points. It says, here, I know you took much damage in that fight. Here's some back. That
Her
creature.
shivering like kind of subsides a little bit as you give her a little bit more health.
Krucko, with his rage subsiding, will walk over and say, I'll gesture towards Lady Gilda and say, I see you, you seem to have broken your shield. A wise athlete once said, the best defense is a good offense, and vice versa. May I? And he will attempt a crafting check on one of the shields.
And vice versa.
And vice versa.
Okay.
So I'm also kind of giggling at Tulok's like, I see you took much damage, and I'm just thinking like, anytime James has ever burned himself in the kitchen, oh, did you get some burn damage there?
Just cut yourself off.
That time you hurt your thumb, Scott. Did you get some bludgeoning damage? Did you?
Yeah. I'm actually really glad you corrected that, Scott, because in my mind, this shadow fight, like, it didn't actually draw any blood. It just pierced her and was drawing her essence out of her. So I think
True
that was a good move on your part.
Mm-hmm.
So like physically, other than her shield, she appears fine. She's just rattled at this point.
Just like strength and life force being pulled.
Blood coagulates, essence
Yeah.
doesn't.
Well, and on top of that, the mutagen wearing off and stuff like that, like she's not 100% sure kind of what happened. Like, if I remember correctly, that mutagen dropped her wisdom as well. So
Yeah, something like that. So what was your crafting check there, champ? Did you drop that?
Do
on us?
I need to talk about it? Yeah, I do. It was a 13 with a 3 on the die. So Krucko will just look at it. Well, it looks fine to me, actually.
can you roll is it 1d8 or 2d8?
Is that a critical failure?
Yeah, 15. Oh no, it's not.
DC 19.
Okay, so no, it's not a critical failure then.
Just a broken hunk of not getting fixed material.
Yeah.
Tulok also pulls out a flask from his pocket, and with it 3 glasses that come with the flask, and just puts a little bit of whiskey, and he says the word whiskey as he pours it, and he hands one to each of them, and he says,
Oh wait, is this the flask of fellowship?
yeah, and he says,
I-
Freeman.
Sorry, sorry. I don't think you choose the spirit, but rather whatever is poured is exactly what the drinker wants,
Yeah, but he's priming the pump by saying whiskey.
which is fun.
Yeah,
so, I mean, if
that's
you all
true.
want whiskey,
That's
cool.
true.
But I want to know what everyone wants in this
I
moment.
weirdly
Yeah,
had
you
whiskey
get a
on
choice.
mine. I don't know.
You get a choice of wine, spirits, hot ginger tea, or cold water with lemon. Oh, for example.
For
you
example,
get
it
whatever
could
you
be
want.
anything. Yeah. I want a straight cup of honey.
A single plum floating in perfume, served in a man's hat.
Yeah, it's whiskey for her, and she sits up, and I think she probably pulls her blanket out of her bedroll and just kind of like wraps it around her as she tries to get warm and make sense of what happened with her restored faculties and consciousness. I would like to take at least an hour here if you guys are cool.
Yeah,
That's
Krucka
cool.
is down about 40 HP. So.
Yeah, so after giving you both the glass, he says, I know the road has been hard and will continue to be that way. But you both fought well, and we have survived yet another dangerous encounter here. And we should keep going. I just want you to know that I'm ever so happy to have you both at my side. And there's no one else I'd rather be down here with. Because you both make me feel safe, and I hope I return the favor. And does a little cheers. And then he rolls a natural 1 on his diplomacy. I was just doing this for flavor, just to boost you guys up. And then a natty 1. He spills his glass on
What was
himself.
that? I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
You can have how much do you how far are you down, Craig?
43. You can try a medicine check on himself.
No, if we're gonna hang out here for an hour, you can just go back to max because she will heal from the compass, and she can just lay on hands every 10 minutes until you're full. Tulok, are you down at all?
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll both everybody will be back to full health, but she still feels a little cold. Not physically, but more like something's missing. And I don't think she quite has figured out that this minor curse has been bestowed upon her. It just feels like she doesn't have everything she had before entering this room just yet.
Did you forget your keys?
I did not.
What about your skeleton keys?
There's a spooky key inside my other keys?
Can you do 5 more repair checks for me, Duncan?
Well, given their track records,
Expedite that.
one of them has to be good, and one of them will probably be very bad. First one's a natural 20.
Okay, sweet. And what is your crafting?
Plus 10.
You're like, oh wait, it is broken.
No. What rank are you?
Trained.
Okay, so it's 20 back.
Oh, I see the problem. It was cleaved in twain.
Okay, can you do another one for me, please?
14.
Just 14 is a fail.
This one was cleaved in Samuel Clemens. 23. That's Mark Twain's real name, by the way.
23.
I don't get it. It's still making me laugh.
Success, so that's another 10 back. Okay, the number 4.
19, I
please.
believe, is a meet to beat.
Meet to beat. Okay, so that one's full. Do you have the DC for the spell shield there for me?
It's DC 22.
Okay. Can you roll another one there, please, Duncan?
23.
Oof, just barely.
So that'll be 10 back to that one.
SHIELD. There, I spelled shield.
Okay, and one last one.
Oh, one last one. You say nat 1.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay. Roll me.
It's a 2d6 for the spell guard.
Yeah, 2d6.
5.
16 minus 5.
SHOOLD. Shield.
Okay. So the spell guard is still broken, but her sturdy shield is back and running. So that's good enough. And obviously we can cut all that.
Nah, it was good stuff.
Recap for the listeners.
Disagree.
We'll see what
That's
comes
the
out in
only
the wash.
recap. It's just that sequence.
Okay, so after an hour, everybody's healed back, and Kruka has managed to fix Gilda's sturdy shield, but not the spell guard. So I think with her confidence a little shaken, she's probably ready to get back to it.
You're also wounded. You didn't do treat wounds, did you?
No, I'm actually going to do that right now, just to try and get rid of it. But it only gets rid of it on a critical success. Is that right?
No, it's a regular success.
Doesn't
Pretty
magical
sure.
healing?
Yeah, the wounded condition
Yeah.
ends if someone successfully restores hit points to you with treat wounds, or if you are restored to full hit points and rest for 10 minutes. So you're good, actually.
Oh, okay. Keep that 23 for
That's good
later
to know.
then.
We're
Yeah,
only
okay,
60
so
episodes
she's-
in. We just figured
Yeah,
it out.
right. Well, we so often treat wounds, but with
Yeah.
the compass and needing an hour anyway just to chill. So, okay, so she good?
All right.
So was there anything left of those shadow creatures when they died? Mainly
Nothing.
the main shadow?
Nope.
Okay.
Not
Tulok-
even a shadow.
Oh! Tulok detects magic. He's standing by the south door.
Yeah, you detect a small amount of magic.
What school, sir?
Ooh, you always want to know the school. It is a school or tradition?
Tradition.
Tradition.
What's the difference?
Tradition is like primal, divine, occult, and
Oh, okay.
the other one.
Why would anyone ever need to
No,
know that?
I lied. It's school.
Okay, and school is like necromancy,
Yeah,
abjuration, conjuration.
It's school.
I believe this is I don't actually have it here. Oddly enough, I usually do, but I think it's there's definitely some necromancy.
oh.
Some.
Definitely.
So
Some
it could be
necromancy.
healing potions. Could just be a room of healing potions.
Could be.
That's what it is, isn't it, Freeman? It's a room full of healing potions.
Yeah, could be. We just wasted all that airtime. You could have just drank a bunch of potions.
Tulok pulls out the wand of magic missile and opens the southern door.
All right,
Gilda gets
open.
into her defending stance before he does.
Kraka is scouting.
Okay. All right. I open the door to a small room that's like what, 10 by 15. And there's an old weapon rack to the south and a door to the east. And the weapon rack is just dusty and filled with nothing, but there are a couple of small things on it actually. There's like these weird little there are a couple of what I should say is there's no weapons on it, but there are a couple of long hollow proboscis.
Oh.
Boss codes.
Sitting there, emanating some magic. They're talismans. Just gonna throw it out there. They're Bloodseeker beaks, which we've encountered before. Maybe not in this show, but they're just little things that you affix to your weapon, and if you hit a flat-footed creature, you deal some precision damage. If you happen to already deal precision damage, like from sneak attack, then you can do some bleed. And there are 2 of them.
Ooh.
Tulok inspects the weapon rack to make sure it's not a mimic.
Another mimic. Yeah, it is not. You're good to go.
How many mimics and how many episodes have we fought?
Yeah, in our recording.
Yeah, because we did this one, and then right after was the other one.
Yeah.
So Tulok says, "Come look, some talismans here," and plucks them off the weapons.
I believe it's Talisman.
Ah,
I'll throw them in your inventory.
and he hands them to the other two.
Yeah, Kraka could definitely. Well, could he?
Yeah, you can put that to use. It takes like 10 minutes to affix one or something, and then you just as a free action, if you hit a flat-footed creature, you can just get a tiny bit more of that sweet
Yeah,
precision
take
damage
that
on
10
there.
minutes.
Tulok uses this time to search the room.
So I'm gonna give both of them to Kruka then.
Yeah, I don't think the hand wraps can have. Well, maybe they
Let's get a
can.
Wolverine
I'm not
thing
sure if you
going.
could affix them to. Like, always just affixed to weapon, but like you're technically using an unarmed attack, and you have worn, hand wraps, so they're not weapons. So I don't.
You gotta
think
get
so.
that
You
shield.
Could, you could do it with
the
your
shield
shield.
attachment.
Yeah. The last time we talked about this was the hunter's brooch.
Well,
But,
she also has the cooperative blade now.
True. Yeah. True enough. All right. Yeah. So you got to take a look around the room, Tulok, and you do a little searching, and actually, right next to that weapon rack, as you're looking at it, making sure it's not a mimic, you find you see like a hook on the wall to the west, where you would probably hang like a coat or something, and you kind of put your hands along it, and you give it a little tug, and it opens a door in the western wall that was hidden.
Yeah, bitch.
Shove that wall.
It's very Scooby Doo.
Yeah. And within
See
the
eyes.
through the door is one of our favorites, 5-foot wide hallway, but this one goes 15 feet as opposed to the usual 10 to a door to the south.
More.
Tulok indicates as the other two are affixing their talismans, or Kraka is, and says, "This place never seems to be quite what you think it is."
Gilda will flex her shoulders and her fists and take point. Take a listen at the door.
Tulok hides behind her, avoiding notice.
All right, you listen at the door. You hear nothing, and you're gonna crack it.
Yeah, she open.
She opened to a room that is covered in dust from neglect. Narrow chamber of a kind of slightly odd shape. There's a warped wooden wardrobe, a bed, and a footlocker at the end of the bed.
She will step in,
Steps in.
and
A little bit
nothing
of dust
explodes or
is
sets on
disturbed.
fire.
That's
Yeah.
it, yeah.
So she will step in a little further.
Shing, 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 shing. More blades come. Okay, so this might be some sort of guard chamber because if the listeners don't remember, we just went through what was that like a gate? Like a castle
like a
gate
portcullis. Yeah.
that had
Yeah,
like murder windows and then
Yeah, like arrow slits.
arrow slits, a murder holes from above.
right. A little bit of that hot oil.
It's
Yeah.
so bad when you say it like that.
Or is it?
Pour some sugar on me.
One of our listeners wanted that. They may not have known it, but they wanted it.
But they all got it.
Shout out Dave.
Yep.
Tulok
Oh.
steps in and starts searching the room for love.
Yeah, taking a look around the room. If you open the wardrobe, it makes a big creaking noise because it's all warped and kind of just sitting around for a long time. But there seems to be nothing in it. Looks like it was picked clean. The bed is also in pretty rough shape. Kind of the mattress and blankets are moldy and rotting. You just have the footlocker. Do you want to take a look at that?
I check it for traps.
Of course you do. And there appears
And there's
to
a
be
door in
none.
the south wall that Guild is going to listen at while they're doing all this, just to see if
Sure.
she hears any rustling behind.
There was no rustling. Tulok, you crack this little footlocker, and you see inside
It's a mid-flit.
a little pouch. There is a book that looks in very delicate, fragile state, and a wide-brimmed red hat with a large black feather.
Oh shit. Well, I'd like to take a look at them.
Okie dokie. What do you want to look at first? The hat, the pouch, or the book?
Book. Tulok. Big book guy.
Big book guy. You pick up this exceedingly fragile book and you delicately try to open it. Roll me a thievery check.
Careful there, Tulok.
20.
Meat to beat. You just barely managed to open this without like the pages disintegrating. It is so delicate. And inside is a codex of poison formulas. There's formulas for hunting spider venom, giant scorpion venom, giant wasp venom, and something called Malleus root paste. Not the sort
So
of
like-
thing that's very valuable to you guys, but perhaps sellable to someone like Magilloy.
Yeah, Tulok turns to the others and says, "It's too bad Physic wasn't with us. This would have been right up his alley. For once, he would have
What if-
known what he was making instead of adding random ingredients together and seeing what happens."
He sounded like
What if we fed it to Duffy and started train him to become an alchemist? Little poison making backpack you got there?
Duffy, you want some num-nums?
Oh, no, that's not the sort of thing I enjoy at all. I like books like you.
Here comes the airplane.
No, oh, God, no.
He looks at the hat.
I don't feel very well. My tummy hurts.
Hush now, boy.
Shh. You're being a bitch.
I think I've got the stomach flu.
You're still going to hockey practice, Duffy.
Oh my god. That's the worst.
All right, what's with this hat? Do metal feet come out of the bottom and it just turns into a red cap within my hands?
No, but you will need a magic check on the hat. Identify magic.
do a check for where in the world is Carmen
it's-
San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
28 occult.
You lift this hat out of the Foot Locker, and Lady Gilda, you might spy it at the corner of your eye, the eye of your corner, I was going to say, and it's remarkably, despite it being in color, it is remarkably like what the shadow that almost killed you was wearing, and it is a greater hat of disguise.
Ooh. Yeah.
As an ordinary looking hat, but as a 2-action interact action, and any number of times a day, so infinite use, I guess, you can cast 2nd level illusory disguise on yourself. While setting up the disguise, you can magically alter the hat to appear as a comb, ribbon, helm, or other piece of headwear.
With that, you could be the belle
amazing,
of the
actually.
ball.
It's true.
And within the pouch, there is a bunch of tiny emeralds worth about 25 gold pieces.
Perfect.
So you should see the Foot Locker there on the map. There, you can loot it as you please.
I like that Paizo thinks this huge red brimmed hat with a black feather in it is just a normal ass looking hat.
You need to walk down the proper district in Absalom, my friend. I'm sure you'll see all kinds of crazy hats.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a swashbuckler's hat. Like,
yeah. A little trek through the coins district. You see all kinds of weird shit.
Let's take a look down here, just in case. Again, I know we're in a secret area, but we don't want anything to be behind us. Gilda, let's just take a quick peek.
and she will, taking the defend action, take point and make her way down the hallway.
So you head down, and the hooking to the west, to the east, starts at, or turns straight into a door pretty much right away. That's obvious from this side, but you did not see from the other side, if with your assumption of this leading to the sort of arena balcony, which the assumption is correct. So this is another secret door, effectively. So you are in a very secret, sort of secure place between those two secret doors.
And she will try and figure out how to open it so that if it ever comes down to it, she can open it from the other side as well.
Yeah, and it appears to be something similar, like a little something on the wall, like a torch sconce or something like that. You just give it a twist and it opens up.
Such a cliche.
That's French, listeners.
Hey, if it works. Touche.
Also French.
Also listeners.
All right. So you guys are heading back up to the where the shadow was.
Yeah, and back to the arrow, like towards that arrow slit room by the weapon rack.
Yeah.
Tulok will listen, and if he hears nothing, avoid notice and open.
Hears nothing. Voice notice opens. Nothing. Seems to be has a little empty weapon rack as well. Something I probably used to store lots of quivers of arrows and whatnot. And yeah, you can see through the arrow slit, but there is nothing here but dust and cobwebs.
He does a quick search of the room.
Nothing.
All right, there's nothing here. Let's try the same on the other side.
Heading to the northern side of this, what is in game terms or in the story called a security checkpoint, as you can imagine. Heading to the north side.
That's TSA, baby.
The usual.
Yeah, just take off your shoes.
Crack the door. A couple more empty weapon racks. Nothing to be seen but another door to the east, which you would assume leads to the other arrow slit.
So that means behind that double door is probably the VIP area.
Yeah, you seem to know the floor plan of Mega Dungeons.
I've watched
just-
Squid Game.
I've been to a hockey game or two. The heaviest defended area is normally where the famous people hang out.
Yeah, or the alcohol is kept.
Also that.
Tulok opens the eastern door again.
And same deal. The only thing different in this room is the lever that you would have seen before, if I ever recall correctly, that would have opened the portcullis had you been able to reach it.
You're telling me Tulok could have mage hand the shit at any point and he let Gilda Hulk out?
No, because I don't have Mage Hand anymore.
Don't you have that cantrip deck? The cantrip dice?
Can you? I was actually gonna ask about this at some point. Can you use them all for the same cantrip?
No,
No,
it's one of each.
each bone represents one.
yeah, 'cause I already
every
used
time
that
you use one, it's gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It says it's here in your. Oh, maybe it doesn't.
It doesn't tick them off.
Oh, that's stupid.
I know it's been super.
I wouldn't
annoying.
want them to get
You
angry.
should probably make a
anyways.
note of each one you've used.
Yes, I should have made a list, but I didn't. Do
Well,
that.
you knew that one, so I trust you now.
How you like me now?
Okay, so I guess we'll go to the doors in the east, west.
Okay.
West
Yeah,
VIP.
so the double doors to the west here. And you give a little listen, and you can actually hear a little something. You hear a little squeaking noise and a little like scratching noise. Meep, 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 meep.
Socialites.
And
I
as
don't
you're
like that.
listening, closer and closer, Lady Gilda, you see at your feet this little tiny rodent eking through and under the door and just pop out at your feet. And it looks up at you. It kind of half like sits down, and you can
Magic
see
missiles.
on its back. You can see on its back. There's like a rolled up note.
It flies into a rage.
Magic
What?
missile rage. Lady Gilda just stomps on it.
No. Sense motive.
Sense motive. Okay. It's,
Jeez!
It appears to be borderline domesticated. This little rodent.
Kruko would like to give a mouse a cookie.
It's just and it seems to be waiting for you to grab the letter.
Yeah. Okay. So Gilda will very cautiously reach down. In her mind, at this point, she's thinking this is a familiar, and that's less than ideal. So she will retrieve the scroll or the parchment or whatever it is.
Okay. It's just a little letter. I'm going to throw it in your inventory here.
Like lowercase.
It's a hastily written letter. And feel free to read it anytime.
Tulok, Gilda Kruka, I have had a grave vision. One I cannot. Could it be written any smaller? One I cannot fully understand. Something will be thrust upon us soon, but I do not know when. I saw another pale evil light cast across Otari, this one much more broadening and all-encompassing. I was shown vague pathways into caves that I cannot enter. You understand. That's not a real sentence or applicable here. What's more is there were thresholds too small for most but the smallest creatures. I have asked Whirlwind for assistance, and she has sent one of the Stone Ring Druids to a location they believe they recognized from my description. If this letter does indeed find you, follow the path before you, find the Druid, return to Otari by their guidance. Before it is too late, Rin Savinci.
You only know one Rin.
You should know that.
Right, so
That was wonderful poetry, Gilda, but what does it mean?
the letter very specifically has the word tiny in it.
Yeah, I don't know why it has that. I have no idea
Well,
why.
'cause it was a tiny piece of paper on top of
Yeah,
a
but
rat.
I don't know how it got that tagged onto it. I didn't mean to.
Oh, because it was in the rat's inventory, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah. And I probably because I made the rat tiny after I dropped the token. That's so funny.
So I was reading it as a tiny piece of paper.
Hero
all right,
point.
go ahead and have your point. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
We lost the dramatic effect of the letter a bit, but it was funny.
Yeah, okay.
I'm also really bad at cold reading, so doing stuff like that makes me feel more comfortable about it.
So to recap, Rin had a vision about another broader light on Otari,
Mhm.
and then also smaller creatures could come out of some sort of tunnels or caves.
No, she had also including in the vision she was shown like pathways, but she's not sure what they are. One was in caves and a place for small creatures to move through, and so she put you understand because she's assuming you understand that she can't enter caves because of her claustrophobia.
Mhm.
But she asked Warlin for help, and Warlin went and talked to the druids, and one of the druids seemed to recognize the description of one of the caves that was in her vision, and has set out to figure out what it all means.
Probably sent the rat through.
Yeah. Or this
Now,
is one of the druids.
the only issue is we don't really want to go back to town.
Well, she's asking us as a favor.
Yeah, but we don't have time. Like, we don't have a lot of time right now. We still have to delve down to the next story and find that fucking guy and bring his head back in 2 more days.
Well, this could be a shortcut, too. Like, we don't know where this leads. The letter's asking us to just continue forward at this point and follow this path, which I'm assuming is the path the rat came from.
Yeah, worst case, we find the druid, we tell him, suck it, keep going.
I mean, you're certainly at a you have a crossroads here. Like, you have a limited time to figure out how to get Jafaki for what's his face. I forgot his name.
Mummy
Shafrim.
boy. Yeah,
But,
I'm just saying if
But
once
also,
he
that's
yeah,
an
Bryn
optional
saying
quest.
come now before. Yeah, technically, Shafrim is an optional quest. Yeah.
True.
But you don't know what the rewards might be.
Okay, well, let's follow and we'll see what happens.
Yep.
So, Tulok pulls off a little piece of ration and feeds it to said mouse. Show us the way.
And with a little squeak, squeak, squeak of enjoyment, it eats it down and then squeezes underneath the door again, and starts heading down this like 10-foot wide hallway that continues on and on and on for a while into an unhewn stone cave system.
Found the caves.
This is beyond the scope of this adventure.
You continue to follow it.
Yes.
Yeah, how much time has passed, would you reckon? Like an hour or like 20 minutes?
Yeah, going through the caves is going to take you probably about an hour to arrive.
Oh, that's okay.
So an hour, and you arrive at a narrow space where you can see there's like a door in the stone ahead of you, but there's a bit of rubble that's been blocking it, and you have to take a little bit of time to clear that away. But it's not too much. It's enough to block the door, but we'll call it like 15 minutes or so. And you push the door open, and it leads you into a cavern or a cave with a glowing fire and a druid sitting on a log. And this cave is where you first found Carmen Rajani.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Awkward.
Where was the door then?
You didn't spot it. It's a secret door in the cave wall. And this druid stands up with a very stoic look on his face and kind of cocks an eyebrow and says, "I'm not going to lie. I didn't expect to see you come out of the wall.
How did the rat get in then?
I'm not sure. I just sort of gave it the message. You cast Animal Messenger as a spell, and it made its way beneath the rubble all around you, and I haven't seen it since.
Interesting.
Been a couple of hours, but it seemed to understand where to go. You got the letter from Bryn?
We did. Have you any further information? Or shall we just head to town?
I do not, but what I do know is, since I've arrived, there has been noise outside. I've heard far more nocturnal creatures than usual stirring. And the light of the moon is very, very bright.
This might
He
be
turns.
a weird question, but have you seen Jal? The creature who was
Jarl?
chased out of town.
You mean Jarl who fell off the cliffs, who died?
Yes.
No.
Good. My mind just appears to be playing tricks on me. Something from the vaults must be affecting me. I'm sorry.
Right. And he turns towards the exit of the cave. Says, "You'll want to keep up if we want to get back soon." And he starts
Wait,
moving
wait.
at a pretty brisk speed. Oh, yep.
As a druid, you can't make sense of the noises that are coming outside?
I've been sitting here waiting. It's a lot of noises. It's creatures that usually sleep at night, I think. Disturbed by something. It was not the case when I
Right.
arrived, but it has been on the rise since.
Time is of the essence.
Okay. We'll keep up the best we can. Krug is pretty fleet of foot, but I'm sure I'll be the last one in line.
It's not just my mind that is quick.
Or my wit.
The druid leads you out to the cave, and as you step outside into the forest, you can see this massive full moon penetrating through the forest canopy. And it is lighting up the forest far more than most nights. And as the druid moves quite quickly through the foliage, using a cool skill called Chameleon Step, you have a hard time almost following at some points, but you're effectively following this druid through the forest, following the leader or following the expert as he darts between trees and stays hidden as best as he can. And the more you move forward, the more noises you hear, and you keep seeing or thinking you're seeing out of the corner of your eye glowing eyes in the woods too often. And the more you go, the more the druid rushes and looks concerned. And at some point during this hour-long trek back to town, he turns and says, "We go straight to Warlowin. Something is not right."
Tulok
Following your lead?
Yeah, Tulok nods grimly and says, "What is this Grotian madness? We must hurry."
Yeah, the moon hits glowing eyes like big piece of pie. That's Otari.
You bastard.
So dumb.
Oh, God. You can have a hero point. You have none. Go ahead.
I'm gonna need it.
Just the cadence in which you said it, I knew what was coming. And so the druid leads you through the forest, and when you manage to exit the forest, you are on the Gaunt Trail just near Otari. And as you step out of the road and into the clearing, you can see the druids have gathered around the Stone Ring Pond at night, and Warlowin is sort of like talking to them and directing them a bit. And as the druid leads you closer and closer, you can see, of all people, Doriana Menhimes, the eldest daughter of Osip Menhimes, in her pajamas, sort of sitting solemnly and a bit melancholy on one of the stones around the pond, with a druid sort of watching over her. And you approach Warlowin, and the druid says a little something in a language none of you understand, and Warlowin turns.
Oh. Hello, heroes. Welcome. Lady Gilda, Sage, Tulak.
A knowing nod to Kruka.
I'm glad you have been found. Something is not right at all. Something has gone very wrong.
Tell us, Warlowin, what of the moon? What do you know of this?
It brings back old fears. Wolves have been stalking the forest line. Some of my druids have reported that they are coming in from all sides of Otari. I have sent most of the druids off to try and stop them from approaching the town. here we are trying to understand what's happening, but there has been some commotion in the town itself. This time of night, sometimes it is just those who have partaken in some drink, but we are keeping a defense on the perimeter for now, hoping for the best within the town.
What of the girl?
Miss Manhima's, I'm not sure. I found her wandering past the Stone Ring Pond. She was entering the forest towards the Gauntlights, but I'm not sure why. She doesn't seem to really want to speak to me about it. She seems a bit sad that I wouldn't let her go forward.
Tulok wants to step up to Warlewin and just kind of take him by the arm and out of earshot of the Menhimes girl.
Okay. Orlewin's a female, by the way. Rude.
Her. I just thought you were giving him a fun voice. Oh, she's cool.
Yeah, she's really cool. It's great
She
artwork.
has eyebrows like my granddad.
She's but his are purple too.
Just in the bushiness factor.
Yeah,
For the listeners, they're like 6
yeah.
inches long.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a gnome that's dressed in like a dark cloak and carrying a staff, and he's like bright purple hair and eyebrows. She's really cool.
For our non-US listeners, that's 15 centimeters.
Nice.
So as soon as they're aside, Tulok says, I know we have not come to see you sooner, and I'm sorry for that. We haven't had much time. We've been pushing deeper and deeper into the Abomination Vaults, as you know. But we have been keeping a secret from you, which maybe now I'm regretting. Jal is alive. We have met him, and he is unwell.
And wow, Warlewin is just like hit, just like you just punched her in the stomach. She just hangs her head.
We've been keeping an eye on you, despite not having met. It is our domain out here anyway, and we see it as our duty to protect Otari for many reasons. Jal, of course, being one of the oldest reasons. It is a shame you did not come to tell us, but it is done. We at least have to thank you for dealing with the marsh giant. We had planned to perhaps relocate it. It was causing a bit of a fuss, but sometimes nature just balances itself out. We've had your back, but now we need you to step forward again. We cannot afford these wolves to exit the forest any more than they may have already. They are no doubt following this druid wolf.
What druid wolf?
Jal. Do you not remember the story? It was once one of us,
Yes.
but he kept his secret, killed, until he couldn't hide it anymore. He lied to all of us.
So you believe he is at the middle of all this?
I must say that I am shocked that you tell me he's still alive. But it's also the thing that makes the most sense. If you encountered him, somehow reminded him of 30 years ago, well, the moon is here now, and the wolves are nipping at our heels. It must be him.
I have my doubts about that. He
Oh?
seemed to just want to be left alone with his. We did not engage. We did not attack. We did not remind him of his humanity. All he asked was to be left alone.
Well,
This.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if that's entirely true because we mentioned Otari and he started to flip. If I recall correctly.
You do recall correctly. He was feral when you found him, but managed to speak when reminded of Otari, and barely. And it definitely changed his demeanor upon that.
Okay. Gilda doesn't care about being reminded about that, but
Doesn't care about it. Doesn't care for it.
well, she doesn't care for it.
Yeah.
How can we help?
If perhaps you can start by bringing Doriana back to her father, I worry for her safety. Although you might have to speak with her to see if she's willing to go with you. From there, I would suggest, of course, hitting up the barracks or Longsaddle or someone to see if there's any news in town.
Well, that sounds tedious. Let's go back down.
Level 6.
This doesn't seem like it bears a material reward.
Tulok. Let's just make it 2 in 1 episode. Takes out the flask of fellowship yet again.
Nice.
Yeah.
And kneels in front of Doriana. Is that her name again?
Doriana, yep.
Doriana. And pulls out a cup and hoping that she wishes for something like hot chocolate. I don't know. If I start giving her like whiskey.
Pure absinthe.
Not cool.
She wants another taste of that wine she stole from the cellar one time.
Liquid LSD.
That would actually explain a lot about what's happening right now.
Yeah.
So Tulok gives her a glass and says, I am sorry that you're here right now. Do you require help getting home? We know your father. We have seen you before, actually. I mean, recently, when we came and got the brooch. Perhaps we should take you back to him. And he gives her the glass. What are you doing out here?
She lifts her head like sort of barely remembering you. It's like sort of confused look as you say these things, and you can see that she's like kind of gaunt, a little bit pale, but otherwise physically fine, just a little bit like fragile in her like sort of posture, and she's holding, of all things, because she's a bit old for such things, but she has like a plush toy in her hand and in the crook of her arm of a griffin. And she's like holding on to it like a little teddy bear kind of thing, like for comfort. And she takes the cup from you and takes a drink. And she's like, pink lemonade. I like that.
So Tulok rolled a 21 on his diplomacy check. So trying to make an impression and improve her mood towards me.
And she kind of looks over her shoulder towards her home and then back to the forest and then to you. She says, I was only trying to see my friend.
Who is your friend, child?
He's the man who visits me. The motley man. It's my friend.
It's a fucking vampire. I'm
He
telling
gives
you,
me-
it's a fucking vampire. She's going all Lucy Western on us and shit.
He gives me gifts like this.
And she holds up the griffin.
He reminded me of my old toys. A gift.
And this motley man,
Can I do?
he works alone. He's not with a crew of any kind.
Oh no. We go on adventures. We go on adventures when I sleep for the night. It's great. Takes me to places with palaces and forests and wastelands and danger and places where we can overcome those dangers. The motley man. He's my friend.
And she seems like tired, but like picked up a bit by talking about him.
Does he take you smoking in the boys' room?
I don't know what
Can
that
I do
means.
a check on the significance of a griffin, like a society or something like that, to see if it means something, like
Yeah.
lion is bravery, that kind
This
of
is
shit.
absolutely a vampire,
Sure.
though. You're so right.
Yeah. High moon, control of wolves, fog rolling in, red eyes. Like,
Wait till we hear
This is some
Freeman's
straight up
Gary
Stoker
Oldman
shit.
impression. It's going to be amazing.
or Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, you can roll me
Wesley
a
Snipes.
Yeah, just roll me what you think is most appropriate.
I rolled a heraldry, a lore heraldry.
You would imagine a griffin is definitely related to honor, and they're like very noble beasts and that sort of thing, and certainly lines up with the idea of like going on adventures and like overcoming dangers. But what it really doesn't line up with is a name like the Motley Man, or like dream adventures, and things like wastelands. There's a something not lining up with that, and you think maybe the griffin, the symbol of a griffin, is not related to the situation here. You're quite positive of it.
Tulok would
There's
like
something
to
more to it than just what it
detect
represents.
magic.
Detect magic. Oui. I mean, you do detect magic. There's magic pretty much all around you, especially with the Stone Ring Pond. But
And the pink lemonade in her hands.
Tulok,
lemonade in her
yes.
hands,
Okay,
yeah.
Tulok, specifically, Tulok knows about the magic from the ring, knows about the magic from the pink lemonade, and most other things, so we'll exclude that from his detection.
Okay.
Just tear open the teddy bear and search it for drinks. We all know that's where you're going.
The Motley Man give you this?
You do
Tulok,
detect
DEA.
You detect excuse me,
It's a narc.
enchantment magic.
Ooh. Enchanté.
So,
Vampire.
and Tulok would also like to roll, while I'm at it, a occultism check on the girl, just to see if there is anything controlling her, or if
Okay.
she looks some sort of way, whether it's like werewolf-esque or vampire-esque.
I will roll that.
Just check her neck. You know, do a physical
You-
do a physical inspection to make sure she's okay.
Yeah. As you are sort of watching her and trying to understand the situation, you see her kind of like, her attention wanes a bit, and she starts to, kind of shift the griffin, a plush griffin in her hands, and you notice a series of bruises around her right wrist, that seem to actually form a vague amount of script, but you can't read it. However, in your occult studies, Tulok, you recognize some of the script as related to rituals that involve dream traveling.
Where do you meet this motley fellow? Do you always meet him in the woods, or does he come to your house? Is this the first time you've gone this way?
I think so. I don't know. Sometimes I wake up and I don't know how I got into another room. And Father is a bit concerned, but I just wanted to come out this time to see him here. Usually he comes to me in the night.
How do you know where to find him? What do you see in your visions?
She holds up the griffin.
And says, this was guiding me to it.
Steal the griffin, put on the hat of disguise, and we'll follow it where it goes like a divining
Ooh,
rod.
that's actually a good idea.
That's hilarious. Tulok is going to say, do you mind if I see your griffin?
Sure. He's one of my favorites.
She just hands it straight to you, and as soon as it's in your hands, you can tell there is something hard and heavy sewn inside of it.
Big
Tulok.
Duffy, fight it.
Puppet combat.
I'm going to fuck you up now.
Prepare for your death, stuffed griffin.
I will eat your soul.
I didn't hear no bell, bitch.
Your soul is mine.
Yeah, Tulok is going to... I would like to attempt a stealth or a thievery check to very quickly extract whatever is inside of this griffin without her knowing.
Okay. It will be a thievery check. You're not going to be able to do this without actually damaging this stuffed animal.
I think Tulok's just straight up gonna do it. He's gonna open. Yeah, he's gonna use that thievery check, and he is going to attempt to take out the item. 19.
Okay. Yeah, you like dig your finger into like the seam of this thing and just start pulling the stitches out. Like you probably just turn away a little bit, and Doriana seems like kind of distracted. Her eyes kind of go back towards the forest as you're doing this, so she doesn't notice right away. And when you get enough of a hole in there to get your fingers inside, you could feel this like cold sort of stone. And when you pull it out, it's a large, bright red ruby.
Ooh.
Roll me. Actually, I'm gonna roll something for you.
Probably a spell component of some sort, right?
Yeah, you're not sure of the significance. Like, why would there be a ruby in here? I mean, it's worth like probably 30 gold, if not more.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like, by the way, it's like flawless. It's like a beautifully cut ruby.
Do I feel the pull still from the ruby?
No.
Oh, intriguing. Okay. Well, so now we've lost our ability to find. Like, do I feel the pull from the griffin still? Or did I just destroy it?
You've never felt any pull.
What?
Nope.
I thought you said when I had it in my hands.
No, you felt the weight of it.
Felt the weight.
The gravity effects. Of
Oh, okay. My bad.
Like there was like, why is this griffin got something hard and heavy inside? You're like, doesn't
Copy
make
that.
sense.
Okay, so Tulok will hand it back to her and say, "I'm very sorry about your present. It must
Hand
have
it to
caught on."
Krugga and have him sew it back up with his crafting skill.
he can do that.
Yeah, my friend will fix it here, and hands it to Krugga.
Krugga rolled a 28 while he's trying to distract her while he's doing it. I like pink lemonade too. It's like you made lemonade bleed.
Yeah.
The seam disappears when he's done.
And yeah, she just seems appreciative that you found a hole in it and are willing to fix it. She's totally cool with that. Just not really paying attention.
Tulok pulls out the ever-burning torch and says, "Come, let's get you home, girl."
Before that, can I just do a quick medicine check as like a physical inspection? You said she looks like kind of pale and gaunt, so I think Gilda would want to perform an EMT's
Sure. Yeah, she
initial
seems
inspection.
she seems perfectly healthy to you, but like showing signs of restlessness because she's probably been sleepwalking. Or she's been sleeping, but like not really resting. And the bruises along her wrist are really strange, especially since they seem to form some sort of script. And she's like usually quite like she's touching them a lot, and but she doesn't seem to be very conscious
She's
of
a
it.
vampire familiar who got in a fight with a printing press.
Can I do a society check to try and determine what language they are in?
Yeah, you would guess, especially with Tulok's little bit of knowledge and what they connect to ritual-wise, that it's something like well beyond all of you, but it might be related to Aklo, but you're pretty sure it's also not necessarily Aklo.
Okay.
It's really, really strange and like inconsistent.
Okay. I got nothing else. Are we going to leave her here? Are we going to escort her home? Are we going to attack these wolves? Are we going to go back to the gauntlet? Like, are we going to follow up with Rin? Like,
Hold on. So I would like to cast Comprehend Language and try to read it.
Oh, do you have that at a level now where you can read? Because we made that mistake before, didn't we?
No, I can understand. Oh, okay. As if hearing. Okay. The target can understand the meaning of a single language it is hearing or reading when you cast a spell.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. Go for it. Cast
Boom.
away.
Cast
That's
it.
what he's best at.
So when you cast this, you realize that it's not really a language. It looks like one, but it's runes. It's like all this series of runes that represent these strange things that you don't understand. However, within those runes, there is in fact a word that can be read, a single word. And it simply says Leng. L-E-N-G.
Ooh, Lang. So that's a is it a plane?
Roll me occult.
Is it a bird?
28, baby.
Nice.
Lang is a name for the I think it's a pocket dimension or a sort of part of the dimension of dreams. A very, very, very dangerous place in which creatures known as denizens of Lang are known to live and exist, but sometimes cross over to the material plane to fuck with others.
I've seen something like this long ago. It was in Old Lang Syne.
Oh, no hero point for that. Screw you.
So Tulok, ever burning torch in hand, turns to informs everyone and then turns to Warlewin and says, "What do you want of us now? We are going to take this girl home. Where do we find this leader of the wolves? Do you have any more details?"
I'm waiting to hear back from all of the druids. Like I said, you should take her to her father and talk to Captain Longsaddle. It's probably the best route to take. I think time is of the essence.
Send me a message if you can.
I have people out already, but again, most of them are watching the tree line. I fear that we will have many come out of the trees. And again, I don't know how many have already. If you look down over the cliff, look, you can see some lights, but not nearly as many as there usually is. The town is too quiet, and I don't know why. The town
And
should be loud and the forest quiet. We have the opposite.
Tulok turns to Lady Gilda and Krucka and says, "We must protect Otari. We must protect it over going back at this time. That is what we are here for."
Well, the wolf is at the door. Better answer.
You guys wouldn't know this, just from looking at the map yourselves, but I have shut off a bunch of lights in town. Like, you can only see a little bit down by the Dawnflower Library, the Tamley's Fishery, by the garrison, and by one of the manors, and that's it. Normally, the other pubs and bars would be open. People would be. It's not even late at night. It's like 9:45 at night. It's not that late.
So light pollution's at a minimum.
People
Let's go stargazing.
You could even see across the way that the Menhima's Manor lights are off.
Gilda will pick up Doriana and start making her way towards the Menhima's Manor.
Okay. You take the march over and approach, passing the main entrance of Otari and going up around the other cliff. And as you do, you see that the horses for Galentine deliveries are not in the stable outside. And you can even peer over to the Farmers Guild, where there's some livestock, and there is none outside as well. And the town looks quiet and dark. And as you approach the Menhima's Manor gate, there is a town guard standing there, alert, and recognizes you and waves you down.
This is super creepy, but it reminds me of when I was living in Taiwan and they had typhoons roll in. Everybody would stay inside and board up their shops and, kind of hunker down. But the first time it happened, or actually pretty much every time, I don't know, I was young. I was walking around and it would be like you're in a zombie movie. And what once was, a 4-lane on either side main road, is just completely empty. And there's no people anywhere. And you're in a huge city and you just see no one. And it's such an unnerving feeling. And that's kind of what I'm getting by this.
Yeah. All right. So the town guard flags you down and says, "Oh, hello, Lady Gilda.
Oh, you found Doriana. Oh, that's great news. That's great. Oh, please, bring her in. Bring her in.
What can you tell us about the situation here? Everything seems so desolate.
I'm not really sure. Well, we had some reports from some of the town guard that there was some strange shadows and things walking about in town, but we weren't sure what it was. When Longsaddle decided to sound an alarm, because the report started saying that there was dogs walking about, or a wolf, perhaps. In fact, there was apparently a spotting of one that walked on 2 legs, and we thought it was strange. We came up here to talk to Menhimes, who was in a panic because Doriana was missing. Thank the gods you've brought her back. But he marched down the road into town, muttering something about Rajani. He seems to think he was responsible for Doriana missing. But I was told to stay here by Gerald, as Longsaddle went back into town, and Gerald went to see where Menhimes went.
All right.
And it's like there's a couple other guards inside, and as you bring her in, and they have all been instructed to sit there and like take care of the place. But they were told to shut all the lights off. He says, and I've noticed that there seems to be noises on the skirts of town, even by the giant's wheel and the flume, glowing eyes in the dark, like wolves hunting. I'm starting to get a little freaked out.
It might be in everyone here's best interest to make their way into town as well. As fortified as this building is, it's still quite remote comparatively, and will be stronger in numbers in case anything does happen. Perhaps making your way to either the garrison or the fishery, or even the Chertel Manor. Chertel would probably be our best defensive position.
Well, we're under orders to stay here and protect the family, and I feel it might be a risk to bring them along, but you're not wrong. The garrison is close by. I suppose I could do that. Maybe.
You take him to the garrison, we'll escort you there, and then from there we'll find Longsaddle and Gerald, and I'll have one of them report back to you.
And roll me a diplomacy.
25.
Ooh, nice.
He says, all right, we'll do it.
He turns to the butler and the family and says,
Gather just a few things. We're going to go to the garrison. The garrison only, mind. He turns to Gilda. I know it'll be safe there, but I don't want to risk going too far. We don't know what's in town. Things looking about. I don't want to take the risk.
It's wise. It's very wise. And she will stand guard, shield up, side by side with this guardsman until they're ready.
and
If Krugga and Tulak want to go ahead, she'll happily let them, but she's staying with the Menhimes at this point.
Yeah, Menhimes' wife is holding the hands of a couple more children, and then they have a nursemaid that's holding a baby, trying to hush it because there's a tension, and even the baby can kind of feel it, and everyone kind of gets ready to go. They're all really nervous because they're Osip just bolted out of here in a panic and freaking out, and the guard showed up saying there's stuff happening, and everyone's really, really worried.
Everyone's favorite, an escort mission.
And you head down the road back towards the entrance to Otari, and you come to the head road that goes by Galentine Deliveries, and as you are walking, you hear howls. You hear howls from over the cliff over by the Druids. You hear howls launching over from the other side past the Giant's Wheel. You hear howls inside the town further in. And then you hear the whinnying of horses from inside the building of Galentine's Delivery. And howls and howls and shrieks and bays. And it sort of turns into a cacophony of a chorus of voices joining, and then silence, and everyone's hackles are raised. Everyone is terrified. The family nearly bolts it. The guards try to settle them down, but they are not prepared, and that's what we're going to call it.
Stemming the Tide is an actual play podcast of the Adventure Path Abomination Vaults and is produced by the Uncharted North Network. Stemming the Tide uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Stemming the Tide is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Music is composed by Will Savino and artwork by Greyhood. Stemming the Tide is recorded remotely using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. If you wish to connect with us or support this project and projects to come, we can be found at unchartednorth.ca, patreon.com/unchartednorth, and on all major social media platforms. Links to all credits can be found in the episode description and our website. Thanks for tuning in.